Greetings to another video. Today I thought I would answer some of your questions over the last couple of videos, so it's going to be quick. So I'm just going to get straight into it. First question. I mean, this is going to be a variety, so it's to do with endurance riding, it's just basically to do with everything. So the first one, do you take a power bank for your Wahoo? Why did I say Wahoo like that? Yes, I just take like a little charger. The Wahoo has got like a really good battery life on it anyway, and yeah, it probably could do, I think it's done like a 300, but for a 400 I did need a power bank. Any tips on sleeping better on the same day of a big ride? Thanks and great motivation. Thank you very much. So it's like the day of a ride, like I guess the night before, I'll just go to bed early. And I think for me, the trick is if you've got a long ride coming up or something that you want to be like on your best form for, just try and get early nights in the week leading up to it. Also, don't stress. I used to get really stressy. Like, oh my God, I've got to be up in like X amount of hours. I need to sleep. And the more you stress, the less you can sleep. So just be calm, close your eyes, get an eye mask. I always put music on. So I've got like 2 albums that I listen to that just like send me straight off to sleep. So they're like my 2 that I go for. Are you walking all that way on gravel with road shoes and cleats on? No. So on my I actually mix between road and like, so SPDSL and mountain bike shoes, which is just SPDs, because generally it's because if it's going to be a long ride and there's going to be steep climbs, like I've done it before where I've done a long ride in road shoes and there's a steep climb and then for whatever reason you end up stopping, it's so hard to get clipped back in. So I just like the ease of use of mountain bike pedals. What size Apogora saddlebag is that? Is it a 7 or a 5 litre? So on the 400 I took a 5 litre. To be fair, there wasn't really anything in it, which was probably my fault because, well, obviously it's my fault because I packed it, but you know what I mean? Like I didn't take enough. I should have taken arm and leg warmers. I didn't. All I had in it was like a repair kit, a tube, pump, and a rain jacket. So I just needed the little one. I really do like those rear saddle packs. They're called, it's the race version. But yeah, I do like those. Do you ride tubeless? I do ride tubeless on my gravel bike, on my mountain bike, on my road bike. Not yet. I am thinking about doing tubeless on my road bike. What do you think? Are any of you doing it? One of my friends actually does it already, and I'm like, oh, I don't know how to make the switch. Another one is, have you got a massage gun? Basically saying they're good. Have you tried one? Why don't you get like one to review? Do you know what? I did think about it, and I spoke to Phil Burt, who is physio, bike fit extraordinaire. He's just amazing. I asked him about it. And he said they're a bit of a fad, and not a fad, but you can get the same results just using a foam roller. So I'm just going to use a foam roller. How long did it take you to get back to normal where you feel fit enough to be able to do a 100k ride without damaging yourself? Right, so I guess I'm aiming, like if I had to have done 100k the day after, I would have done. I think a lot of it is depending where you are. Like if you're at home, you're not going to want to go out. But if I was out in the middle of nowhere and I had to ride that 100, I would. And I don't think it's not going to damage yourself. Like I think that's a good thing with cycling is that as long as you're fueling properly, drinking, like you can pretty much just ride as far as you want. So yeah, maybe the day after, maybe a couple of days after that, because I'm wanting to do like big multi-day like events. So I'm practicing trying to ride back to back. So this weekend I've got, well, you'll see them next week, but I'm doing, it's like a hardest 100k with Band of Climbers on tomorrow, which is Saturday. Then I've also got a 200k ridiculously hilly Audax on Sunday. So I want to do those back to back things. Are there any clubs or groups that I can get in to train for ultra endurance rides? I live in Stretford. I don't think there's any specific, God, it's got quite dark. It's got quite, what was I saying? Yeah, it's throwing me off because it's got dark and I'm like, do I change the settings on the camera? I've done it before and then it changes back. I'll just change it for a sec. One more. How many times could I say I would say, I don't think there's any specific like clubs. Audax UK is just, it's just amazing. So just go and do a load of Audax rides. That's the best type of training you can get. Right, this is another question that I found. It's not even really a question, it's more of a musing. Someone asked me, said, it's amazing that you're doing all these big rides, but do you ever feel like people will feel like their achievements are diminished because you're doing like these bigger rides? And it wasn't said in a nasty way. It was just like saying, you know, do you ever think that? And for me, and maybe this is just me, but I think it's a lot of you as well, that when I hope that when you see me do these big rides or, you know, big climbing days, that you see it and think, I could do that. If she's doing it, maybe I could do it. Because that's how I feel when I see people doing bigger rides than me. I don't ever think, oh, well, mine's crap at home. I'm just so unfit. I just see it like, oh my God, if they can do it, maybe I could give it a bash. Maybe I can do it. So I guess that's my way of it. And I don't ever do it. I don't ever mean to do it in a way that comes across like, oh, look at me, I'm doing these big rides. It genuinely isn't. It's more about that if you go back on my old videos, you'll see that like I wasn't that fit. Like a big down the bike for me was like 50k. And so for me now to be able to do that, I feel like I want to try and encourage you and inspire you to be able to do the same. And that's sometimes what I'm thinking on these rides. I'm like, oh, I've got to do it because I want to, not I've got to do it, but I want to be able to encourage you to think that you can do the same if you want to, that is. Because it is doable. So yeah, I think that's answered that question. All right, there were so many questions about saddle sores, pain in the arse, like, oh my God, you'll not be able to, how are you even moving the day after? And I'm going to give you a really quick rundown of what I do to prevent saddle sores. So the first thing is a good saddle. And I can't tell you what a good saddle is. And you also want to make sure it's between 0 and -3 degrees. I've got a whole video on this. I'll link it below. But just in short, good saddle, good shorts, good chamois. And make sure that they fit properly. Sometimes people wear like ones that don't fit tight. They're meant to be tight so that they're not baggy and like rub around and like just chafe. So good shorts, good chamois. The other thing is don't wax or shave. Phil Burt again gave me this advice, and he used to talk to Team GB about this, the females specifically, because I mean, there are other ways you can get rid of hair, but waxing and shaving are the worst because you are aggravating the follicle of your hair. So if you shave or wax and that hair follicle is trying to grow back out and you're just sat on a saddle all day, like just applying pressure, you're gonna get an ingrown hair, and that is so painful. So that's another really good tip. Chamois cream as well. I've talked about chamois cream, I'll leave a link to it. Slipstream, because the main ingredient in that chamois cream is aloe vera, so it is so nice. And the way that I would describe that chamois cream, I should say I am sponsored by them. This is not a sponsored video with them, but I am sponsored, supported by them. That when you put that chamois cream on, it's really thin. You don't need a lot. And it kind of, generally like when you put talcum powder on your skin, and it kind of makes it really smooth and soft and like slippery and smooth. It's like that. Whereas other chamois creams that I've used, you put some on and they just kind of feel a bit sticky. And the reason that they will eventually give you saddle sores is that the salt and the sweat, the salt in your sweat as you're riding kind of mixes with that and makes like a bit of a paste, and then just dries and can cause abrasions. And I think that's why that chamois cream works so well, is because it just kind of gives like a really soft feeling on your rear. So yeah, that's why I like that. And also because it is like the main ingredient in it is aloe vera, so it's really nice to use after a ride as well. So what other things would I do to prevent saddle sores? They're the main things. Chamois cream, saddle, good shorts, and a bike fit. If all those fail, go and get a bike fit. It's the best thing you can do. How many coffees do you drink? I don't drink any coffees on these rides. I'll very occasionally have a Coke. Say if I'm abroad and it's hot, maybe I'll have a Coke, but not really. Do you find it easy to do long Audaxes solo that you can stop when you want? I find like it's like a mixture, because I feel like when you're with other people, you get like the motivation of being with other people, and it's nice because it's like the camaraderie. But then equally when you're on your own, you can just stop and start when you want, and you're just doing everything on your watch really. So I like both. And I think it's really good to be able to do those long rides on your own, because I never used to want to ride on my own. So I do feel quite like proud of myself that I'm able to do long rides on my own. And a lot of it is just testing yourself mentally. So yeah. What do you use to lock your bike up when you go into the shops? I use, in fact, where is it? A Z-lock. I'll leave a link to it. It's like a steel zip tie basically. And I use that. I do take it with me. However, pretty much every long ride that I've done recently, I've not had to use it because I'm a little bit of a cheeky bugger and I'll just walk in with my bike and just walk around the shop and just wheel my bike. As long as it's not like filthy, generally shops aren't going to mind. Sometimes they do, and then I'll lock it up. But most part I just kind of wheel it around. Someone said, how do you fit a day job to do this? Well, the thing is, like Audaxers do this on a weekend. I did it on a Saturday, so if you do want to do a long ride, just do it on a weekend. So yeah, that's because I know there's quite a few people I see on Strava who are like big Audaxers and they're doing like huge Ks every weekend. So yeah, you can just fit it around that. Oh, that's the end of the questions. How long have I been chatting? Oh God, 10 minutes. Bloody hell. It's only meant to be 5. You know I can get waffling. But yeah, I just wanted to check in, say hello. I've had a bit of a busy week. You'll see why next week I'm doing. So I've got those 2 rides this weekend. And then next week I've got a little event on, which will be exciting. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So I just wanted to check in, say have a nice weekend. Thank you for the questions and thank you again for all like the lovely, lovely comments on Strava and on those last few videos. You're just so good to me. It is really nice to see like all the lovely comments and like I said before, like it's never, I don't know, not done in a way that like, I don't ever do those things because I want to like diminish like your achievements. I want to like praise your achievements. Don't ever feel like just because I'm doing like one set event, like one set number, that means that your 50k, 100k, 200k isn't, I mean, you know that anyway. But because I know that I'm not in any means like in the endurance world. Like there's people doing like thousands of K. What I'm doing is relatively small to what they're doing. So there's always going to be someone doing more than you and people that are doing less than you. So just do what you want to do and enjoy. So thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next video. Greetings to another video. Today's going to be, why was that so high pitched? It's just going to be a very,